In this video, I'll show you how you can fine-tune your hue and saturation levels a little more than using the basic saturation from the vibrance slider. So if you go to the top and you click on image and you go to adjustments, we have hue and saturation, and you can see that the shortcut key here is Control U or Command U for Mac OS. So we'll go ahead and click on that, and here we are given a dialog box that allows us to adjust the hue, saturation, and lightness all in one go. This is one that I use pretty often because it's pretty easy to use and navigate and get around. We have some presets here, so of course we have these different things: old style, red boost, sepia. So this is a great way to come in here and use some great filters. So if we look at, say, the sepia, you can see what's happening here. We've adjusted the hue and turned on colorize to more of a orange looking tone. We brought down the saturation, and if we go to something like red boost, we're not colorizing, we're keeping the colors, but we're boosting the saturation. So let's go ahead and take a look at this real quick. The hue is going to change the hue of the color across the board in comparison to where they are on the color wheel. So the center slider here is saying that this is the middle ground for the colors. We have this red brush. It's not saying that I'm going to change this to blue. It just means that as I move this slider, it's going to evenly move with whatever color that is on the color wheel. So the equal distance here is as I move the slider across, the brush becomes yellow and then a green, and you can see all the colors are changing in the image because this is going across the master, which is everything. So we'll put that back in the center for now. We can adjust the saturation here also, so we can make it, of course, more saturated or desaturated. We can bring up the lightness and darkness contrast here, so we can adjust that here and make it lighter or darker. And we can do this on an individual basis, so of the channels. So if we click on reds, we can just bring out the saturation of those reds or desaturate all the reds in the image. Same thing with the lightness. We can make the reds white, or we can make them completely dark if we want to. So it's a cool way to come in here and start editing out the individual channels and messing around with some of the colors and getting some cool effects. Same thing with the hue. We're on the red channel here, but we can just change out the reds to whatever colors that we see that we like here. The other cool thing about this tool is that you can use a colorize, and this actually does more of what you would think in the hue section. So what happens is when I turn on that colorize button, whatever color you have picked here for the hue, it's going to adjust across the whole image. So here, as I move this across to yellow, you see it turns yellow. As I move it across to green and blue and all these different colors, you can see them adjust. And then of course we can adjust the saturation and the lightness and the darkness. So the hue and saturation sliders give you a little more control, and this is typically what I use whenever I want to make some quick color adjustments, especially on individual layers. So I could pull out these colors on the individual layers and adjust them appropriately to get the exact colors that I would like.